Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to check the Cobra X, a very interesting box-style FPV goggles by SKYZONE. In this video I'm going to go over their features and specs, show you some DVR footage, and share with you my initial feedback after testing them out. First of all, the SKYZONE Cobra is available in two versions, X and S. I've got the X version, which is the more expensive out of the two, and the main difference between the versions is the resolution of the 4.1-inch LCD screen. So on the Cobra S, the resolution is 800 by 480, and on the X version, 1280 by 720. In addition, the X version features a better DVR, its OSD menus support more languages, and on the X version, you'll be able to set the aspect ratio of the screen to 4:3 or 16:9, whereas the S version is limited to 16:9 only. In terms of packaging, inside the box along with the goggles, you can find the user manual, two simple linear antennas with an SMA connector, three pieces of the attachable foam pads along with velcros that will enable you to attach them to the goggles, one unit of foam pad for the nose area, two pieces of foam pads which I'm going to explain about in a bit, a SKYZONE branded head strap, an RCA AV cable, a head tracker cable, and 1 meter long USB Type-C and a barrel to XT60 cables. In terms of specs, the SKYZONE Cobra X feature a single 4.1-inch LCD screen with a resolution of 1280 by 720 pixels. The screen is located on the top side of the goggles, so the image is reflected using a mirror through a Fresnel lens which creates a field of view of 50 degrees. On the top side of the goggles, you can find a fetcher-compatible module bay, and both versions of the Cobra are bundled with the SKYZONE SteadyView video receiver, which is also known as the Ishin Rapid Mix, which is bundled with the Ishin EV300O goggles, which in case you didn't know are manufactured by SKYZONE. Just like the Immersion C Rapid Fire and similar video receivers, the SteadyView fuses two images together in order to improve the picture quality, and it features a USB Type-C connector, which will enable you to upgrade its firmware. In addition, the module bay of the Cobra is compatible with other video receivers besides the SteadyView, including the Rapid Fire, but then, in most cases, the provided cover is not going to fit, and adjusting the frequency will be done using the module, whereas when using the SteadyView video receiver, it will be done solely using the settings of the goggles. As for adjusting the settings of the goggles, it is done using these two clickable wheels and three buttons, and shortly I'm going to go over most of the available options. On the bottom side of the goggles, you can find a mini HDMI in connector, the AV in port, a micro SD card slot that supports up to 128GB micro SD cards, a USB Type-C port that will enable you to upgrade the firmware of the goggles and power them up, the head tracker out port, and a DC input barrel connector. When using the DC input barrel connector, you'll be able to power the goggles directly with between 2 to 6S batteries. Another way to power the goggles, as I just mentioned, is to use the USB Type-C connector, and then you can connect them to a power bank. And another interesting way, which is very useful, is to use an 18650 lithium-ion battery, which is not included, so you'll need to place it in this compartment, and while the goggles will be powered either using the DC input barrel connector or the USB Type-C connector, the goggles are going to internally charge the 18650 lithium-ion battery. According to my wattmeter, when powering the goggles using a 4S battery, the current draw is about 0.45 amperes, which translates to 7 watts, so using an 18650 3100 mAh battery should provide you with between 1.5 to 2 hours of working time. The weight of the SKYZONE Cobra X goggles without the 18650 lithium-ion battery is 348.7 grams and 407.7 grams including it, so they are a little bit heavier than the Ishin EV800DM goggles and much heavier than the Fairchild HDO2. While in this video I'm not going to fully disassemble the goggles because I don't want to risk damaging them before finishing the review, I can show you how you can separate the faceplate from the main body. After unscrewing the 6 Phillips screws on the sides of the faceplate, you'll be able to simply lift it up, then the internal components of the goggles will be partially revealed, and as far as I can tell, the quality of the Fresnel lens look very good. Now after this quick glimpse, I've attached the Velcro stickers to the faceplate, and I recommend to pay extra attention when attaching them, since the adhesive material is not going to be as effective after a couple of retries. Now I've added the faceplate pads, And I recommend before putting the nose piece to try on the goggles and see how they fit you, because, for example, in my case, I find the goggles more comfortable without it. In case you wear prescription glasses, you'll be glad to know that you can use them along with the SKYZONE Cobra. The purpose of these two pieces of foam, which I've shown you earlier, is to block any light from coming inside the goggles, and in case you are going to use your prescription glasses, you will need to adjust them accordingly. You can use an X-Acto knife, and another option, which is the one I've used, is to use a soldering iron. As for using the goggles, first of all, turning them on or off is done by long pressing the power button, and while the goggles are powered up, double pressing the power button is going to either turn on or off the built-in fan. Short pressing the menu button is going to first bring the OSD, and then using the right scroll wheel button you'll be able to adjust the frequency in case you're using the SteadyView video receiver. While the OSD is displayed, short pressing the menu button again is going to open the configuration menu, where using the scroll wheel button you'll be able to adjust the different settings. The first option will enable you to adjust the head tracker, which is by default turned off. Under the image menu, you'll be able to select a couple of predefined settings and manually adjust the brightness, contrast, saturation, hue, and sharpness. Under DVR, you'll be able to adjust the following settings, including formatting the micro SD card. Under the display menu, you can adjust the OSD timeout, its position, its transparency, the luminance of the LCD, which is by default set to medium, set the aspect ratio to 16:9 or 4:3, adjust the RSSI display icon and its position. Next, under the system menu, you can adjust the power supply options. By default, it is set to DC input voltage, so no warning is going to be shown, but if you'd like a low voltage warning to be displayed, you can set it to in between 2 to 6S. You can also perform voltage and RSSI calibration, set the RF mode to either mix or diversity, and with some video systems you'll need to set it to diversity, as otherwise a roller shutter screen is going to appear. Keep in mind that this setting only applies to the SteadyView video receiver. Next, you can set the language of the OSD, set the fan speed, reverse the location of the scroll wheel buttons, disable the beeping sounds, restore the goggles to the factory settings, upgrade the firmware of the DVR, which is done by copying a new firmware file to the micro SD card, and check the firmware of the goggles. Short pressing the left scroll wheel button will first bring the OSD, and short pressing it again will display the mode selection menu. Under this menu, you can first set the RF mode to RF normal, and then you'll be able to toggle between the 48 available channels in case you're going to use the SteadyView video receiver. RF racing will limit the band to race band. RF third-party mode will disable the frequency selection, and then you'll be able to manually set the frequency using the module that you're going to use. Next, you can enter AV, HDMI, and DVR playback modes, and under these modes, the video receiver is going to be turned off in order to preserve the battery life. Under the DVR playback mode, you'll be able to switch between the available files, play them back, and adjust the playback speed using the right scroll wheel button. Delete a file using the DVR button and confirm the selection using the right scroll wheel button, and go back using the mode button. As for starting and stopping the recording of the DVR, first of all you can set the DVR to auto-record, and then once a video signal is going to be detected, the DVR is going to start recording, and if you are going to do it manually, you need to short press the DVR button while the OSD is displayed, and a video signal must be detected in order for the DVR to start recording. As for the quality of the DVR, here you can see a quick side-by-side comparison of the recording of the internal screens of the goggles using a GoPro camera with the DVR, and as far as I can tell, the DVR did an excellent job as it kept its sync with the actual video for the whole time, and I didn't notice any frames drop. In addition, in order to demonstrate the quality of the screen, I've connected the Cobra goggles to my computer using the HDMI port, and this is actually from a recent flight using the Nebula Pro camera, and as you can see the video is very vivid, and it makes the Cobra X an excellent option for using it with flight simulators. Overall, priced at around $230, I think that the SKYZONE Cobra X is an excellent option for a beginner who'd like to get their first high-quality set of goggles, or for somebody who'd like to upgrade their existing ones but still don't want to spend $500 on fetch arcs, and also for people who must use prescription glasses. Keep in mind though that even though these goggles are compatible with prescription glasses, there will be some light leakage from the sides of the goggles. In terms of ergonomics, even though these goggles are heavier than my Fetchrock HDO2, I find them quite comfortable, and even more important, unlike most of the box-style goggles that I've tried, they didn't cause me any eye strain. In addition, I really enjoyed the quality of the Cobra X screen, especially when using the HDMI in port. I find that the quality of the DVR is great, and having the ability to use an 18650 lithium-ion battery, which is going to be recharged while powering the goggles externally, is a great option. As for the SteadyView video receiver, which I've already used while testing the Ishin EV300O goggles, I can tell you that it is working quite well. In case you're going to encounter the rolling image issue, change the mode to diversity and the issue is going to be resolved. And even though it's not as good as the Immersion SC Rapid Fire, it is still a high quality video receiver, which hopefully is going to be improved using future firmware upgrades. I would like to remind you that along with the goggles, you're getting very basic antennas, and I highly recommend to get better ones right off the bat. Anyway, that's going to be it for my hands-on review of the SKYZONE Cobra X. I hope it was informative enough and helped you to make up your mind whether it's a good option for you or not, and keep in mind that using FPV goggles is something subjective, so preferably try the goggles before purchasing them. As always, I thank you for watching my video. In case you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below and I'll do my best to help you out. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the notifications bell if you're not already subscribed. See you in my next videos, and goodbye.